Hey there, students. I hope you're all doing well. For those of you that are watching the live stream, hopefully this will pop up here for you here in a sec so you can see it. I'm getting everything put together so we can get going. Sometimes I will pop out of the screen over here and some things like that, but hopefully this will help out. I hope everyone's keeping warm, and be careful tomorrow when you have the really, really cold weather. All right, so I have you here on the computer screen, but I have some students that braved the weather today, so thank you everybody for being here. I appreciate it. So let's get started. So last class, we were talking about the macroeconomic effects that the macro environment that companies have to deal with. You know, we talked about changing society. You know how like we have less and less time, so now you see like the TGI Friday stuff. No matter what you want from Fridays, you can get it at the frozen food section, your PF Chang's or whatever. And so we're kind of talking about that. And the overall idea of dealing with these macroeconomic effects is realizing that some of the stuff directly affects us, right? I mean, think about it. There's a smoking ban and you smoke, it directly affects you. But sometimes it's indirect. You know, I'm a worker. A smoking ban doesn't affect me. I don't smoke. But if my coworkers do, then they're gone for a smoking break outside for half the day. So there are some issues there. Okay, so I want to get that kind of first thing started. Now, the next topic we're going to talk about in terms of the macro effects, we're going to look at the technological factors. I mean, think about this. There's students now watching this online, and the ones that are here going, why am I not in my warm bed? I know Luigi's there going, why the hell am I here? You know, it's so, there is that. Let's see. Is our sound working? Yes, sound's working. So when we look at the technological side of things, you gotta realize this technology is constantly changing. How things have changed since I started working here 8 years ago to now is completely different. Like, there was no live feed option, right? There was nothing like that. I mean, there's things I can do to help you out in class. Think about the stuff your professors can have for you. Like, we have the study videos, right? You can have your eye clickers. You can have all kinds of stuff that's made it easier for a professor to help with the class. But the thing is, it's still the same information. Some things don't change. Sometimes it's the peripherals that can make things easier. And so we look at these technological changes. You know, sometimes you'll see differences that are big. Okay, so how many of you remember this thing in the top corner, this abacus? How many of you had that in the Montessori school? Remember the thing in the top left here? Anybody? Yes, some people online maybe do. And you had, that's how you used to count, right? The Greek times, or if you're going to a Montessori school and grade school and stuff like that, they have those. And then after that, you had slide rules. These things down here at the bottom. It basically looks like a ruler, and what they would do before they had calculators, you want to know what 12 times 12 was? You'd slide it over to 12 and slide it down to 12, and 12 times 12 was 144. That's how you figured it out. But technology changed. You had all the microprocessors and stuff like that, and then a calculator came. And then, I mean, how many of you have a calculator? All of you have a calculator on your phone has one. Think about that technological change. The calculator industry itself wiped out these other industries, right? And then all of a sudden, technological changes happened. Now, there's no calculators. When you buy your TI-85 or whatever, right, for your like finance course, isn't it right? You have like some class you have to have before, but otherwise you never use it. Because otherwise I just use it on my phone. I mean, think about how many industries were completely destroyed or completely changed because of the advent of the mobile phone. I mean, think about it. How many of you still buy a camera? You don't use your phone, right? How many of you have a landline? You don't. You have your mobile phone. How many of you buy game consoles? A lot of people don't anymore. They just play games on their phone. And so sometimes these technological changes can directly affect us or indirectly affect us. So we're looking at those things. And if you look at it, think about political campaigns. Now you can donate $1 here or $10 there on a political campaign. Whereas before, it's only, oh, if you're going to donate the $2,000 maximum, they could do that. Now anybody can donate. That really revolutionized how small candidates can raise money. So you have these kind of things you want to look at. So you look at things, how we store energy. I mean, think about it. Part of the reason why we can have these phones is because we have batteries that can hold a charge that can do those things. I know we joke about how our iPhones die real quick and our Samsungs die real quick and stuff like that. But the thing is, those batteries can hold that power. You know, that's the thing. Tesla in its cars and the Priuses in their cars, those batteries had to have something that really revolutionized things we could take advantage of. Okay, so I'm thinking about that. And the thing is one of the things I want to talk about is so technological changes let us spread the word out for things. So one of the organizations that has an info night, their info night tomorrow, is Prospanica. So it's an entrepreneurial group, but you don't have to be an entrepreneur. It's kind of business focused, but you don't have to be a business student. And what it is, it's a nonprofit organization dedicated to empower minorities to achieve their full educational, economic, and social potential. They have workshops, they have career stuff, they have scholarships, all kinds of stuff. If you want to go, you want to find out more about it tomorrow night, okay? At 1:30, tomorrow night at 1:30, they don't have the time on it. They didn't send me the time. So you have to look it up and find. See, one of the issues, we can have technology to help us share information, but sometimes if we don't adjust to the realities of, hey, you need to make sure you put a time on there, it can make it a little bit tough. But the thing is, now they can spread the word about it and let people know about it because the technology is letting it happen, so it can actually help us. But the thing is, when we look at overall, like macro factors, most people really talk about economic factors. You know, like right now we're talking about, is there a crash coming, right? Is there a recession coming or something like that happening? Now, the thing is, that will affect different industries different ways. You know, if you look at it in higher education, like the master's programs and stuff like that, when the economy goes bad and people don't have jobs, well, a lot of people go back to school, right? Or if you're the peanut butter industry, you don't like when the economy goes bad, but it helps you because people start buying more peanut butter. They start buying more hot dogs. It has a high calorie, fat, protein, content for a low price. So people get more bang for their buck, more calories for their buck. And so we see these things, and we can take advantage of it. I mean, think about the Aldi's and Walmarts. Bad economic times are great for them because people are like, look, I'm not going to spend the extra money when I go to Target. I mean, how many of you go to Target and just spend money because you don't realize it? Yeah, you like walk in. We went there yesterday. To get 2 pairs of jeans. I walked out with ice melt. I got like t-shirts for my kids. I walked out with 3 DVDs. Who the hell gets DVDs? Target's amazing at that. But the thing is, when economic times get bad, people aren't going to Target anymore. Like, I'm going to Aldi, I'm going to Walmart, because they have the lower prices. And people can take advantage of those things. All right, so I want to think about that. And the thing is, if you're looking at just kind of the general economic health of a country and how it can affect our businesses, when the economy is going well, I mean, think about it. When things are going well, your parents are happy, isn't it easier to get stuff from them? Right? Like, yeah, sure, here's some money to go get that new Xbox. Here's some money to go get that new outfit or get that new phone. No problem. When economic times are tough and they're unhappy, it's tougher to get things, right? I mean, think about it. Anybody have a parent that's a Bears fan? Yeah? So, Bears fan, is dad, mom, everybody? Everybody. So, when the kicker doinked it off the uprights, was that a good time to ask your dad for some money? No. She's like, what the fuck? No, of course not. And so it's the same way here. Like, look, economic times are tough. People get tough. They get worried about things. So what happens in the tough times, you have a lot more negotiations. You have a lot more people suing each other, things like that. Less building up a new products. Because think about it. If you don't have a lot of money, you're not going to experiment on new products. I mean, think about it. It's kind of like when you're really hungry, do you try that new product, that new food at that restaurant? No, you go for the old standby. Look, I ain't got a lot of money. I got enough money to buy something. I love my Culver's. I'm going to get my cheese curds and my butter burger and cheese, right? I'm not experimenting with their fish sandwich or the chicken. No. I have limited funds, and I'm really hungry. I'm not taking that chance. And so that's one thing you got to see. So from a company, I'm not coming out with a lot of new products in bad economic times. In good economic times, sure. But think about when you got extra money, why not? Why not do something? So when you have good economic times, you start to see there's less negotiations. Also, you see fewer discounts out there. You ever wonder why there's so many dollar stores that have popped up over the last 10 years? Because, hey, there's a lot of people that are hurting. The economic times start getting better. It's harder for the dollar stores sometimes because people think, hey, there's other options I have, so we have to think about these things. All right? And so if you look at it, sometimes economic factors, you might look at it in terms of inflation. Right? So inflation, I mean, I remember talking to people, I did my PhD about Brazil and their banking sector, and we talked about the hyperinflation of Brazil. I mean, imagine the inflation is so high, you cannot write the prices down. You have it on a chalkboard and you write it, and then you erase it at the end of the day. Like, people would go and they get their money and they go straight to the store to buy whatever they could because they knew tomorrow their money could be worthless. Buddy of mine, his aunt's in Venezuela. She goes shopping when she wants to go shopping. It's not a problem with money, it's that there's a problem finding stuff because of bad economic situation there. And so she's like, look, I have a backpack full of money, but there's nothing I can buy with it. How do we adjust to that? Okay, so we kind of have to think about those things. If we look at some other economic issues that might influence us, we might look at currency fluctuations. You know, if all of a sudden, if I'm doing business in Argentina, like this summer, the Argentine peso was just crashing, right? It's just going down, down, down. How do I guarantee getting my money back? Because if I sell it one day and it's, let's say it's 1-to-1, 100 pesos is $100. And the next day, 200 pesos is $100. Well, hey, how do I get my $100 back? Because can I double the price of my product in that other market? Maybe not. Because then those people, they're not making, it's not like they're getting double their salary. Their salary is still set at what it was. And so everything's getting more expensive for them. So we had to figure out, hey, what do we do? How do we adjust for that? Because currency fluctuations can have a really big impact. I mean, think about it. If the dollar is extremely weak, a movie looks like it's very successful internationally because it's making a lot more money. It could be the same number of tickets, but all of a sudden the dollar's worth half of what it was. It means they make double the money, double the dollar's worth of stuff outside the U.S. So we can influence these things. So we look at those kind of things. Other things we want to look at, interest rates. How many of you anybody here care about interest rates? Anybody? Nope, you should. Yeah, Luigi's like, yeah. You want to buy a house, you want to buy a car, you want to get your college loan, all these things refinanced? Yeah, right now we're at historically low interest rates, right? And so for that, it makes it easier. You want to buy a house? Hey, in my house, I got it like at 375. Okay, my dad, when he was my age, he bought the house that I grew up in, it was 18%. Now, if you don't know, your credit cards probably run 18 to 20% on the thing. Do you want to buy a $200,000 house or $300,000 house at 20%? No, think about it. That's $60,000 a year. You're paying just in interest payments. I can't afford that. Think about how that's going to affect businesses. So think about car, and what are some industries where you have to take out a loan? Car, home, right? Boats, these kind of things. Yeah, all of a sudden, high interest rates, that's really going to affect my business, but also for the people that are having those businesses, and also the knock-on effect. Because then I have to charge more for you in order to sell to you, because I have to cover their interest costs. So that's going to be one of the things. But also vice versa, when it's low, hey, people are like, hey, let's just buy stuff. Why not buy that other house? I mean, it's almost free. I mean, your college loan is what, like 2 or 3%? That's nothing. So if you're looking to pay things off, you want to pay off that 20% credit card first versus your 3% college loan. Okay? So you just want to kind of think about these things, because that can really, really affect us, all right? Now, some other macro effects I want to talk about. Next one is the political or legal regulatory environment that are out there. The laws and regulations, everybody has to deal with them. I mean, it might not affect you directly, but you still have to abide by them. So we look at these things. And so you might have fair trade laws, trade pacts, all these kind of things. Hey, we're going to have to deal with that. So if the U.S. has a free trade with China, how does that affect our business? So you're the clothing industry, if you're the technology industry, well, if all of a sudden there's no tariffs on those, what does that make the prices? How do I adjust? These kind of things. And the thing is some of these laws can really be specific to your industry. I know when I was on the board of one of the schools here in town, you had to have at least a certain number of board members. You had to report your earnings. You had to report everything out there because you're a nonprofit. You can't hide stuff. Okay? So you have to make sure you make these things available. That's why I do the Freedom of Information Act and stuff like that for certain government agencies. They have to do those things, all kinds of stuff. And I know I've talked about the smoking ban. But think about the political ramifications of that. They changed the law. They say you can no longer smoke inside, so you have to go outside. And then they made a new law. You can't smoke within 15 feet of certain places. Well, what happens when we legalize marijuana? I mean, what are the ramifications for that? So hey, there's going to be a lot of tax money, right? I mean, you look at Colorado. The teachers are happy. I got a lot of money coming in. My pension's getting funded, all kinds of great stuff. But what are the other ramifications for? Think about my class. We talked about this a little bit last time, but I know this is an 8 a.m. class, but I'm going to guess some people wake and bake, right? I'm sure maybe there's some people watching this live feed that might be doing that right now, because it happens. The thing is, how do I deal with that if I come in here and a third of my students are high? Now, if I can smell it, it's not that hard to find, but they have brownies and stuff like that. Think about it. Schools have to start thinking about these things. How do we deal with that? You'll see stories of how little kids took brownies to school and shared it with their friends, and all of a sudden a bunch of kindergartners are high, and they got to have their stomach pumps or whatever, because the kid took some of mommy and daddy's brownies. Yeah, it's legal, but the kid didn't know. It looks like a brownie. I mean, how many of you would take a brownie right now? If I had brownies, you'd take one? Yeah, you don't know what's in it. Like, it's brownie, it's free food, why not? But think about that for the schools, and not just, hey, now we got to train our teachers what to look out for. Because, when your kids are drinking beer in high school, you can smell it, but eating a pop brownie, well, what are the ramifications for that? We have to adjust to that. What are the social ramifications? Think about it. DUI, all of a sudden, it's going to be a lot more. Well, maybe it'll be a lot more of that. I don't know the numbers yet, but think about it. Like, now we have to be looking for that. Not, I smell the smell of alcohol in his breath. Well, now we got to check some other ways. So you have to think about these things. So that kind of something. Other things, you look at the effects of increase on minimum wage. Hey, people need to make more money, so they have that. But then what's the ramifications for it? Do you want your dollar menu to be the $2 menu at McDonald's. I mean, there's things people have to realize that there's going to be effects for that. And for businesses, they might say, well, if they increase the minimum wage, is it cheaper for me just to go for robots? How many of you have gone to a McDonald's where they have the little like screen there and you order on the screen and then you just walk up and buy, right? Yeah, there's a few of you out here. How many of you order from the McDonald's app? You put your number in, it's ready for you? Yeah, I mean, I go to the McDonald's down here for breakfast sometimes, and I see people walking in and they'll order from the app instead of getting in line. I'm like, dude, there's nobody in line. I'm ordering from the app. All right. So we have to think about these things. What's the ramification for that? I know if you go to Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam, you go to McDonald's there, you try to walk up and order, like, no, don't come here. Go to the machines. I only hand you the food. I say number 573, and then I give it to you. So you have to think about these things. What are those ramifications we have to deal with? Okay. Next up. When we look at all these things, what does it really mean? What are all these different macro effects? Well, the thing is, we as companies, as organizations, as nonprofits, we have to be looking out there and saying, what do we need to do? How do we deal with this kind of stuff? I mean, think about it. Tax cuts. Everyone loves a tax cut, but all of a sudden you say, oh, everyone gets a $24,000 deduction. Well, all of a sudden, now I don't necessarily. How many people aren't going to be donated to nonprofits? Right? So nonprofit. How do we inspire people to buy when we can't use the tax deduction model? Now it's like, hey, we really need to show the good we do in the community. Let's really show the good stuff we do. Right? So we have to think about these things. Because no matter what, companies have to realize that, hey, there's some things that are going to be affecting us and we need to do stuff about them. We need to adjust for those things. So we're looking at those things. So we always have to constantly kind of see where the wave is going. Toyota did a great job in that. They were the ones, they saw the electric car, the hybrid car stuff coming. And so the Prius came out, and Prius, it wasn't the best of the hybrid cars, but it was the first one that was out there, and so they got to ride the wave. And then the Chevy Bolt came later, and the other ones came later, but Prius is kind of like when you think electric car, hybrid car, that's the one you think of, right? I mean, remember when it first became big, like, oh, get a Prius, because that's the one to save the planet. And so they rode that wave, they saw that trend. You see other things. Now you're seeing a lot more, organic products, stuff like that. Anybody ever gone to Core Life Eatery? Core Life Eatery, it's all like organic, healthy stuff. You go there to like get rid of not get rid of the toxins, but it's all really healthy food. And their whole thing is like, look, there's enough people now that are looking at their health and the food they eat, maybe not meat, but there's enough people that are doing that it's a big enough market. If we could be the one on the leading edge, we could be the healthy fast food option. We could be the organic food option, right? And so they're checking these things out. That's why companies always have to watch, because if you're not, you're going to get wiped out. I mean, Nokia didn't notice, didn't seem to pay attention when the iPhone came in. That was competition stuff, but the technological advances, so we could have all the touch screens and all that kind of stuff there, and the gaming and all those things, they didn't adjust to it. Wiped out. Texas Instruments, from its calculators. But I mean, they used to be like one of the world leaders in personal computers. Didn't catch the wave, wiped out. Universities are worried. Hey, have you noticed all the online classes we have on offer here at the U of I now? 300 classes you can take online. Well, part of that is because all these factors have happened. We can take advantage of it. It can help us because now we can sell our classes not just to our students, but now we can sell these to other universities. We can sell it to Coursera for online classes, all kinds of stuff. Okay, so we kind of look at these things. So realize there's a lot of factors out there that's kind of like in the environment we're in. There's a lot of things you have to deal with. Some will affect us directly, some indirectly, some can help us. Like those of you at home right now, I hope you're doing well and you're nice and warm. That would be really nice. But those of us that brave the cold, there's about, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's like 50 people here. So like 10% of the class showed up. Good job. I appreciate it. So yeah. Now, next thing I want to talk about is industry key success factors. Now, when we look at an industry overall, you kind of see there's certain things that you have to do, right? Like if you're looking at the fast food industry, it's important to have a location, right? You got to be where people are, right? I mean, think about it. How many of you like Portillo's? Anyone like Portillo's? Yeah, of course you like Portillo's. You're from the Chicago area. It's like required, isn't it? It's like you like the Portillo's and you call it Sears Town. Period. End of story. Like, does anyone? What about you? Anybody? Any Portillo fans down there? Yeah, anybody? Yeah, I'm going to guess there are a few down there. And the thing is, Portillo's, they realize that location's important. It's not like a popular spot, but where are people going to go? Have you noticed that all the restaurants and all the shopping seem to pop up in North Champaign? Where do all the Chicago people live in Champaign? On campus, right? Then why don't they put the most Chicago fast food joint where the students are? Anybody want to guess? Anybody want to guess? Why is it in North Champaign instead of here? Anyone? Bueller? Yeah. Yeah, that's where people are spending money. That's where the townies are. Because here's the thing, is how many months are you actually here? Think about it. So when did you come back from summer break? End of August? Middle of August? So let's say middle of August, we'll give you middle of August. And then did you go, where are you from? Chicago, okay? So did you leave, did you stay all the way through finals, or did you leave right when you were done? Right when you were done. So let's say mid-August to mid-December. So to September to October to November, December. So there's 4 months, right? And then you came back middle of January, because everyone likes freezing cold weather. And you'll leave right after your finals again mid-May, right? So then you go mid-May, so you got mid-January to February to March, April to May. So you're here 8 months. How many months are there in a year? 12. All right, thank you, Luigi. You're all about it today. So 12 months. So 4 months out of the year, you're not here. And I mean you, I mean students. So I ask you, if you don't have any clients for 4 months out of the year, how are you going to be making money? And that's Portillo's thing. It's how do I make money? I can make money off the students, but do I make enough to survive for the 4 months they're not here a year? Oh, and don't forget, you got those 2 weeks of spring, the spring break and fall break. So it's now 4.5 months. Oh, man. But who's here all year round? The townies, right? Yeah. They're here. So we realize, look, we've got to put it out there because that's where the townies are going shopping. That's where they are. And we realize that's one of the key successors. We have to be where the people are. Location is vitally important for the fast food industry. And also, you have to make money the whole year round. Okay? So we have to think about that. All right? So when we think of key success factors, you kind of think of the things in industries that are vital. All right? So you look at fast food, it's about location. So one, we got to pick the best location, but also we have to fight over it too, right? Can we just build it wherever we want? No. Think about CVS and Walgreens. I mean, every street corner, new street corner comes up, we got to be there first. Hell, they'll put it on opposite sides of each other because they know that, look, we have to be where the people are. We're not going to put a Walgreens out in North Champaign where all of the Myers and the Targets are. No, we're going to put it in Southwest Champaign where there's one tiny grocery store. So there's a lot of people living there. We can be their convenient location. We know that. So they're competing. So in one way, we know our industry overall. You go where you're going to shop that's closest, but also we have to fight with our competition to get the best location. Right? And so we kind of look at these things. So industry key success factors, what you're looking at, these are product attributes, competencies, competitive capabilities, and market achievements with the greatest impact on future competitive success. So basically, these are the factors that distinguish between a good company and a great company. Because you think about it, like most companies and most industries, people focus on one, maybe two things to be really, really good at in their industry that are important. I mean, think about it. McDonald's focuses on location, right? They're everywhere. And then they focus on speed, because that's important in fast food. Now, do they focus on, high-quality food? No, that's where you have Culver's is focused on the high-quality burger stuff. They're not as so much on the speed. It's acceptable speed, but it's not fast, right? They bring the food out to you kind of stuff. So they're focused on the quality and then the service part. So we kind of look at these things. And the thing is, when we kind of break these down, we want to think about is there any core competencies in these industry key success areas that our company can do very well? So we have to look at these things. So our strategies are, when we come up with these factors, hey, where are we? How do we rank? Do we have good location, bad location for a restaurant? Is it breadth of product choices? Is their service good, bad? We look at ourselves and we see that, hey, we're not doing good enough in these areas. We need to improve. Because think about it in cars. In cars, you have to have a strong balance sheet, right? You have to have cool design. You got to have a good price-quality ratio, right? You have to have these things. And you see, look, if I'm not good at one of these areas, people might not buy it. If I think about it in terms of mobile phones, is there something that's going to make you buy the phone or not buy the phone? We know that the brand name's important, right? So I'm going to guess, if I ask you to pull out your phones right now, you either have an iPhone or you have some Android device. I'm going to guess nobody has something else, right? Because that's what the industry is. And so we realize, hey, look, we've got to be known, because no one's going to buy a Mark phone. You're going to buy an iPhone because you know them. As we kind of think about these things. So when we're developing these key success factors, we're we're kind of looking for these prerequisites for success. Okay? We're trying to figure out what we need, what to look out for. There's two big questions you ask. There's a third one, but there's two really big ones. One, what do customers want? I mean, if you want to know your industry, you got to know the customers, right? So you got to figure out what it is they really want from this product or from this service. So we have to do an analysis of demand. So who are the customers? Who are the real customers? I mean, think about it. When I look at a university, who are the real customers for a university? Yes, there's the students that are sitting out there. There's the students that are watching online. But also there's the parents, right? There's the companies that hire you. Those are also customers. What are they looking for? Okay, so we look at these things. Other things you might look at is, where do they shop? How do they shop? We want to know these kind of things so we can understand how they buy, what's important to them and stuff like that. But the thing is, whenever I work with people and I work with companies with this, we try to talk about industry key success factors. A lot of people just focus on the customer, which is cool. We also have this other question. How does the firm survive competition? Like, what do we do? I mean, think about it. How many of you were recruited by more than one university? I mean, how many got random, like, letters in the mail from St. Olaf's or Indiana or someplace, right? Yeah, they know that, look, part of our competition, how do we compete? We got to let students know we're out there. Because if you're from Illinois, of course you know Illinois. But you know what? If I go to California, they go, oh, where do you teach? Oh, I'm at the University of Illinois. What's that? Oh, okay, you know when you like watch a sports game and it says Illinois? Yeah, it's that one. Oh, okay. Right? So like, hey, we got to get our name out there. So we have to think about that. So what are we looking at? Maybe what drives competition, how intense the competition is. Because if you think about it, I mean, if you're McDonald's and Burger King and Wendy's, you're fighting for every last burger dollar. There's a lot of competition out there. Other industries, when there's not a lot of competition, maybe we don't fight as much. You do your thing, I'll do my thing, it's okay. But we look at that. And then we have these things called the death bells. Is there anything that will make you not buy that product? Okay, so we'll go through each one of these. Now, if you're going to be doing the exam, what I might do is kind of give you an example like, what are the key success factors of the soda pop industry? Because if you say soda or pop, I just want to make sure you're covered, okay? And if you're looking at those, you're going to have to like come up with some yourself and say, is this one or that one? You kind of pick 2 or 3 of them that you think would be best. Because one of the things with industry key success factor, it's very subjective. Because you might look at it in terms of industry. I might come with some, and I'd have 5, and you'd come up with another 5, and only 3 of them overlap. That's okay. It's what your company really wants to focus on, right? So to think about that. So if we look at it in terms of what the customers want, think about what the customer's main reason for buying that product is. Why are you buying this college education? To get a job? To get out of the house for 4 years? I mean, what is it? We start looking at what people really want to get out of the product, that can help us out. Okay? Then we go into the true kind of customers of this industry. Like I said, your parents are part of the true customer of this industry. The companies that hire you are part of the true customers. We start looking at these things. And the thing is, we might look at the influencers out there. I mean, why do companies spend millions for spokespeople? Because they know that, look, if I have LeBron talking about my product, I know we're putting eyeballs on there. I know that's how people decide. Like, hey, if LeBron is wearing those shoes, if he's wearing those clothes, it's got to be cool, it's got to be good. Right? And so they see these kind of things. We see those influencers out there. That's why you see, how many of you, when you go on your Instagram post, I mean, I was doing this in my other class the other day, and we got on Instagram, I just scrolled up, every 3rd post was a sponsored post. Why are they doing that? Because they know, hey, we can use those influencers to influence people. You see that place they go, you might want to go there. You see them wearing that, using that hair gel, you might want to use that. And so we look at these things. Who are those influencers out there? And of course, because it's marketing, we always look at the wants and needs of our clients. So we have those things. We're kind of putting those into effect. And so we kind of figure out is also, how do people choose between different products? Like the people that chose Illinois over Northwestern, or Illinois over Indiana, or something like that. What was it that got them to come here? You know, when I told you, when I talk to students, a lot of them say, oh, when I came to the campus, well, not today. If anyone came today, they're not coming. When I came to the campus, I'm like, hey, this is for me. Okay, we see that one of the deciding factors is that campus visit, right? So we need to make sure that campus visit is awesome. We give them a tour, we show them the quad because it's gorgeous, right? And then we show them the Beckman Institute because it's so futuristic. We show them Biff over in the business school because it's so futuristic. Then what do? We show them the Eikenberry, right? Remember, you were on this tour? Let's show you the fancy new dorms. They don't show you the old 6-pack. They don't take you out to FAR or PAR, do they? No! Eikenberry, haha, right? And so you see these things. So we know that's what's really influencing people. So we look at that. And the thing is, you might see that sometimes, hey, price is what really matters over everything. In sugar, can you name me the company your sugar's from? You're like, Walmart sugar? No, it's great value, right? That's what it's called. So you might see that sometimes, hey, look, people are deciding just based on price. They don't care about anything else, all right? It's like milk. I love my Prairie Farms milk, but you know what? That Meyer milk for $1 less sure tastes the same. So I'm basing it on price. So you can look at that. Other things you might look at is your location. If I want to get college students to eat my food, how do I do that? Well, location. I got to be where the students are. That's one of the reasons why you have so many delivery options here for food and in college towns, because college students don't have cars, right? You're studying, all this kind of stuff. I can't go to North Champaign, but I can call up Grubhub. I can do Uber Eats and get my Portillos delivered here on campus. So we see that sometimes, hey, location is really important. How do we overcome our disadvantage of our location? How do we get people to go to Mays, like on First and Green? How do we get them out there? Sometimes the food is so good, people will walk all the way down there. Sometimes, hey, delivery is one of our better options. So we gotta look at these things. And you might look at recommendations, all kinds of stuff, the hotel and travel industry. Recommendations and reviews are the biggest thing that really influence people whether to go there or not. Okay? Now, after we kind of look at what our customers want, we also have to look at our competition. So sometimes you might see that sometimes we compete maybe on price. But think about the RC versus Coke. I mean, they're competing on price. RC's like, look, we can't compete with you with brand recognition, but we can compete that our soda's 50 cents versus yours is $1. Okay? So you might look at those things. You might look at the different options that are out there, maybe the size or assortment. I mean, think about it. Why does Coke have mellow yellow? Anybody ever drink mellow yellow? Anybody ever heard of mellow yellow? It's the yellow, it's the citrusy Coca-Cola soda. Pepsi has Mountain Dew, Coke has mellow yellow. There's Dr. Pepper, then there's Mr. Pibb. Because, like, look, we have to have something. Because for soda industries, what they're doing is they're competing on the number of product offerings, the assortment that's out there. I need to have a cola. I need to have a diet cola. I need to have a clear soda, caffeine-free, right? Because how many when you were kids, the only thing you could have was Sprite or 7-Up, right? Yeah, you have little brothers and sisters, they're like, oh, Sprite or 7-Up, that's all I get to have, or water, right? So you have that. And then, of course, you're going to have orange, just orange soda. You got root beer, you got Barks or Mud, right? You start seeing that, look, they have the same kind of things. You have the Sprites or 7-Ups, the Sprites or Sierra Mist. And we realize we have to have that whole assortment. Because if I'm going to a restaurant and I'm trying to sell, if I'm Coke selling you, look, we have every drink you'd want. We have sodas, we have juices, we have teas. So whatever customer comes to that door, we have a drink for them. So can Pepsi not have one of those drinks either? No, they have to have that too. And so we start to see, it's like, look, maybe it's assortment we have to look at. Because you notice, have you ever noticed when you go to a bar and you ask for a ginger ale? Like, oh, I want a Jack and Ginger. Maybe you're not old enough. But you go, they're like, oh, we don't have ginger ale, but we make our own. Why not? Why don't they have that? Well, do you know, is there a Coca-Cola ginger ale or a Pepsi ginger ale? Not all the time. So you start to see, it's like, look, if I'm going to outfit my restaurant with soda, I'm going with one company because I don't have to pay two. If they have everything I want except for ginger ale, whatever. As we see these things. All right? Now, other stuff we're going to look at. Look at how intense the competition is. You know, if we know that there's a lot of reactionary stuff with the competition, if we build one on this corner, they're going to build one on the other corner. Hey, that's going to deal. We'll talk about intensive rivalry later, but we're going to look at that and see, hey, what do we do? Okay. Now, another thing we'll look at is, does the industry have space to grow? I mean, think about it. If you have room to grow, hey, I have plenty of space. Like right now, is everybody happy with their seats? There's nobody bunching up. I mean, you have a whole row to yourself. You could like lay down and take a nap in class, right? I mean, I'm going to guess all of you at home, you're pretty happy with just watching the class laying in bed, right? Like it's very comfortable, right? Yeah. You have plenty of space. You're happy. You know, I've never had so many students say thank you so much for a class in my entire life. Not only thank you for letting us do this. Yeah. Because you got all kinds of space. You're comfortable. But the thing is, how about when this classroom's completely full? Remember the first day? 500 and some odd students in the class, this entire lower bowl is completely full. You're like, wait, I had to move my coat. I had to move my bag. I mean, come on, I saw some of you do this. That's why, look at all these people that sit on the edge. Why do you sit on the edge? So you don't have to move your stuff, right? So you can get out easy. I have room, I have space. And so companies, when they have space to grow, yeah, there's not much competition. Sometimes we'll work together better. We don't have to worry about too much. I'll talk more about this later. And the thing is, you might look at what are some of the key key differences for competitive success. So if you look at it in terms of, it could be customer service, right? Or is it maybe the quality of the product? Is the different opportunities we have? Is the brand name? Remember, if I slap that Apple logo somewhere, people are going to pay money for it just because it's an Apple product. I'm going to trust it because it says Coca-Cola on it. I'm going to trust that more than the label I don't know what it is. I mean, how many of you go to a store and you see like the cool looking sodas where you're like, man, I don't know what that's going to taste like. I'm going to get myself a Coke. You know those machines you see at Wendy's that have like the or maybe go to Meatheads, it's got like the soda machine that you can pick like 99 different sodas. I'm like, yeah, there's 99 different sodas, but what are they always out of? Coke and root beer. Why? Well, it's the most popular one. So there's all these other options. Sometimes you don't actually go for the options. So we got to look at these things. All right? And then we're going to look at these death bells. There's something out there that just makes you say, you know what? Forget it. I'm not buying that product. Phones. I mean, phone batteries. If your battery your phone sucks, I mean, we all have crappy phone batteries, let's be honest, right? Like, we're just waiting because, remember, 5G will mean our batteries work better. That's what they say. I mean, think about it. But back in the day, you had a battery, you charged it with the old Nokia 3210s, 3310s. It would last for like a week. Let's see what my phone is at this morning. Oh, I have it plugged in because it was already dead this morning. Woo! I'm at 62%. I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning. It is now at 7:30 or 8:30. Thank you, Samsung. I mean, think about it. There's something like that. My next phone, I want to make sure the battery is worth something, right? And so we look at that. And so we look at, hey, what is going to stop people from buying things? Hey, if you go to a restaurant and you hear they have cockroaches, not just in the kitchen, but out where you eat, are you going back? Hell no. Hell no. And so we look at these things, we realize we can't overcome rats. Remember the movie Ratatouille when you were a kid? Anybody remember watching Ratatouille? My kids just watched it yesterday, so I'm like, it's fresh in my mind. And I remember the restaurant gets this great review. The guy's like, oh, it's this most fantastic food ever, la la la. And then it's like, oh, but they had rats. It doesn't matter how good the food is. You got rats. Doesn't matter how much fun I have at college. If I don't get a job, forget about it. I mean, there's a reason why when you talk about the U of I, you say, look, College of Business, 97, 98% job placement. Why do you come to school? Get a job. So if 98% of people are getting a job, I hope I'm better than that 2% that don't. Right? And so we look at these things. Other thing we look at is sometimes you might look at competitive aspects. Technology becomes important. Nokia was fantastic. Nokia ruled the mobile phone world, but then their technology got behind. And in phones and computers, do you want last year's technology? Is anybody lining up to get that iPhone 6? No, we're waiting for the iPhone 12, 13, 14, 15. Give me the newest, the coolest, things like that. Right? So we see these things. Other thing you might look at sometimes is an unknown brand. I mean, think about it. If you look at, just think about mobile phones in general. We look at it, what do people want? You want a phone you know, right? So that's a brand. So you got iPhones, you got Android, stuff like that. How do firms compete? Well, we advertise like crazy, right? You see Samsung and Apple commercials, iPhone stuff, things like that, right? And then death bells. No one buys a phone they never heard of. So right there we know all three, it shows up in all three, and it's all very important. That's going to be one of the key success factors. We have to have a good marketing plan. We have to have a good brand, right? We see those things. Other things you look at. We go back and kind of put these all together. Oops. We look at, I'm just going to give you some examples of the industry. If we look at it in terms of the fast food industry, we talk about location. Just think about it. Do you go someplace you can't get to? JJ's Fish and Chips, best wings in town. They now are on Uber Eats. Before they were, man, I'm not going to drive from my house to there to get it. It's too far. Oh, but you can deliver, great. As we start to see, okay, location's important because our customers have to be able to get to us. Competitors, we fight over the best locations. And what's one of the death bells? If I can't get there, I'm not going to shop there, right? And that was one of the things where the malls really came from, because they realized that, look, maybe, I don't have anything to do with the toy. I'm a clothing store that doesn't deal with the toy store. But if we're in this one area, it makes it a location people go to. Right? We have to have, these, they call it like the anchor stores, like how Sears and JCPenney's and Macy's were, the destinations people went to that got people in the stores. I mean, think about it. Malls are dying off, but hey, what is something that people go to every day they could switch in? What do we see? What does every new apartment building here on campus have? It has a gym, right? But then, I mean, what's the gym really like? It's got some elliptical things, right? And there's a treadmill, and then they got the recumbent bike, and then some dumbbells so I can work on my guns, right? And then there's nothing else. Yeah. Oh, and ambassadors, yeah, because why? Why do they have the ambassadors? Exactly, because you're not sure we're going to stay. But with those brand ambassadors, she's talking, for those that didn't hear her on there, she's talking about how all the properties on campus have like a brand ambassador, someone out there that's always posting, talking about the cool things that are going on, stuff like that, so that people know what's happening. Because think about it, how are you not sure we're going to live next year? You're not sure. Well, how would you know where to go unless you see it on social media, unless it pops up, unless someone bumps into you like, oh, you're looking for a place to live? Come see us. I mean, there's one tonight. There's another one tomorrow night for a couple of these new high-rises going up. Because if you don't know about it, we need those ambassadors out there. Because we see that, hey, what's one of the key things? Getting the word out. And how do we get the word out now to a bunch of 18 to 22-year-olds? Social media. So we need those ambassadors to do those things. See? They've seen that, and that's one of the keys to success. So you're starting to see these kind of things. Good example. Thank you very much. So we see that. Other things. Give me another industry. Let's figure out one more industry, we'll move on. My buddy in the back, freezing cold, Illinois hat. Phones. Okay, we'll go to the mobile phones, but we talked about the brand. Another thing we want to look at in terms of mobile phones is also design. Well, let's be honest. Does anyone want to buy an ugly phone? Yeah, the thing that's next to your face all the time, or in your hands all the time. No, the design becomes really important. So when customers want a cool design, they also want a functional design, right? Because I remember back in the day when I was in college, Nokia had this circle phone. And the numbers went around the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, yeah, 0. It looked really, really cool. But imagine texting. Like, how many of you can text without looking? Like, I could write a message like this. I'm sure when you drive, you think you can. But imagine it's a circle. Oh, it changes everything. Look cool, but the design fails. So that's one thing. I gotta have a design that's cool, right? But then also, when we look at death bells, people don't buy stuff that they can't figure out how it's gonna work. So that's gonna do one thing there. And then also, what are the Androids and the Samsungs and the iPhones and all these people always fighting on? They're trying to show the newest, coolest design, right? Look how cool our new, now with sleeker screens, right? An unbreakable design and all these things. So we start to see this design becomes another key success factor for them. And so you look at it, like we talked about, soda, you're looking at, one of the things you want to think about with soda is sometimes one of the, how do I say this? Sometimes the customer doesn't matter as much. It's more about the competition, how you do business side. Have you ever noticed there's always like a local Coke bottler and a local Pepsi bottler? Why is that? Why is that? Well, soda is very heavy, right? And the thing is soda expensive? No, it's cheap. So how much more is it going to cost me if I'm shipping all of my Coke from Atlanta, Georgia to around the world? It's too much. So local production becomes a very important factor, and local distribution becomes a very important factor in the soda industry, because we have to make it right there, because we have to have it where people want it. Distribution kind of all goes into that. So we have those things. And the thing is, whenever you're coming up with this key success factor, now usually you'll see is there's like 5 or 6 key success factors for an industry. And companies can't do all of them because it's just too expensive. Like I can't be the highest quality and the lowest price and be everywhere, but be a niche product. You can't do that. And so what usually happens is they focus on 1 or 2. So like I said, McDonald's, they focus on cheap, they focus on fast, right? And location kind of goes there too. Apple focus on design and brand. Do they have the best battery? No. Do they have the fastest processor? No. Do they have the best camera? No. But they have the coolest design and they got the marketing that's working for them. And so you see, we kind of look at those. And so if you use this with a company, what you would say is, here's how you rank in all these key success factors. So here's a strategy for you to improve in this area. So that's how you use it. Now, next model we have. Wolters 5 competitive forces. Now, I'm going to guess, and how many of you do the back-to-back? The 320, 310? Yes, you're here all day long. You get comfortable, bring lunch, everything? Yeah. So those of you online, I don't know if Denise is doing an online version, sorry. But we look at it and we realize that there's some stuff that crosses over, marketing, management kind of stuff, and this Porter 5 forces is one of them. So basically what Porter's 5 forces are, you look at the different competitive forces that companies have to deal with. I mean, think about it. We have to deal with the threat of new entrants. If I'm a product, I have to worry, am I going to have new competition? What's the likelihood I'm going to have new competition for this, right? And then you're looking at other things. You're looking at the bargaining power of your suppliers. My suppliers that are getting my products, how much do I have to bend to their will, or can I dictate things to them? I mean, think about it. If you're Walmart, your suppliers are bowing down to you because you control like 30% of the grocery market in the U.S. But on the other side of it, there's other things. I'll talk about them a bit. Then, next thing you look at, threat of substitute products. How likely people are going to switch to something completely different? How likely am I going to switch from driving my car to work to taking the bus to work? Completely different industries, okay? Then, of course, you're going to look at your bargaining power, your buyers, your customers. How much pull do they have over you, right? And that will depend on a lot of things. And then we look at competition. Our rivalry, how intense is that rivalry? Are we fighting over every single customer? Or we're like, you take those customers, Luigi, I'll take this side, we'll be okay, right? You take the European market, I'll take the U.S. market, we'll be okay. And so you have those. And the thing is, in the 5 competitive forces, when you do this, what's really cool about it is, though it's old school kind of stuff, it gives you a really great understanding of an industry. I make my students in my Capstone course do this for their industries or the companies they're working for. They're like, oh, we've had this before. I'm like, I know. And then because this gives you an idea of what's going on, you understand the suppliers, you understand the competitors, you understand the customers, so you get this like nice base of what the company is, what the industry is, okay? And it really helps you out to figure out all these competitive forces, because it's kind of like, I got the background now I can go forward and do some other models. Now I can do the key success factors or these other things, right? The market penetration, market development stuff we talked about, you need to understand what's going on. So we look at this. So if we look at the first one, this threat of new entrants, how likely is it that a new competitor is going to pop in the market? Now, sometimes it's very easy to come in and think about it. Restaurants. Only thing you need to start a restaurant is a permit from the city to sell food, right? And the thing is, you don't even need a building anymore, do you? I mean, some of the best food you're going to have is from a truck. I mean, I was down in Austin earlier this year. Last year, I'm like, my God, how do people go to restaurants? All the food trucks are so good. Like, I'm so jealous. I work over here in Champaign. No food trucks come by where I work, but I walk over to Urbana, food truck, food truck, food truck. You can have breakfast, you can have donuts, you can have tacos, you can have a meat. I'm like, oh, man. What we start to see is, hey, look, it's really easy to get in that industry. But what about other things? The other things you want to look at, look, if the entry barriers are too high, because restaurants is low entry barriers. High entry barriers, maybe it's just too expensive. I'm not really worried about a new car company coming into play because it costs so much money to get started. I'm not too worried. Am I worried about a really big university starting up? No, because there's not a lot of money and it's really expensive to run these things. So I'm not too worried about it. So the threat of entrance in universities is kind of low. Other thing you might look at is brand identity. If you're in an industry where people either, I'm a Coke man, or I'm a Pepsi man, or I'm a Coke woman, I'm a Pepsi woman, or whatever, I'm a Coke person, I'm a Pepsi person, if they have that identity, you're like, man, how am I going to get Wolters Cola in there? I'm not. It's going to be better for me to have Wolters Orange. Because, I mean, how many of you really identify with an orange soda? You're like, I know Fanta Orange, they've kind of pushed that, the last few years here in the U.S., and you've got, like Sunkist, and what else is there, Crush, and there's like 5 or 6 different orange sodas out there. So that one, there's no like brand identity. So that one, hey, it could be easy to come in. But cola, forget it. People identify. You're a Coke or a Pepsi. That's the way it is. Okay, so we look at these things. Other things you want to look at is switching costs. How much is it going to cost people to switch from your product from some other product? I mean, think about it. How many of your parents said you get to choose a PlayStation or an Xbox or a Nintendo? You get one. You don't get all three. Sorry, you get one. And the thing is, we realize that, look, once people select, I'm not worried anymore. Once they've chose the Xbox, there's no threat of entrance because we're going to be using this technology for the next 6 years, so I'm not worried about it. There's no threat right now. But the thing is, when the new generation comes and you get like Xbox 2 and PlayStation 19 or whatever, when those come out, there's going to be, hey, someone else could come in at that time. Because the Xbox came in when new generations of Nintendo and PlayStation were coming out. They came in, so the Xbox came in with the GameCube and the PlayStation 2, and then Xbox came in because they saw this is our chance. And that's why you're looking at things. Is there a time for me that I could come in? Right? So look at that. Another thing I look at in terms of capital requirements, like I said, it was too expensive to get started. That could influence it. Also, the threat of retaliation. Am I worried that the competitors that are already out there might make it impossible to work? That's some things you want to look at. So if you're looking at an industry like this, you might say, hey, what's the threat of new entrants? Is it high? Is it low? Is it medium? On the exam, the question, I give you a situation of an industry and you say, is it high or low threat of entry? Okay, so that would be kind of like the question kind of thing. Oop, I guess it's the wrong thing. Next thing we're going to look at is determinant powers of supplier power. And the thing is, your suppliers can dictate a lot of stuff to you, right? I mean, one of the reasons why I have my own book is I can control the price better than if the suppliers are McGraw-Hill or Pearson or something like that, because they're like, look, this is the book we have and it's this much. If you want to charge something lower, you can't. Okay. That can influence you. Now, the thing is, sometimes the supplier power can depend on the differentiation of the supplies. I mean, think about it. If it's BP gas or mobile gas, do you really care? Like, what do you decide your gas buying on? That one's $1.98. That one's $1.99. I'm going to the $1.98. I don't care if it's mobile. I don't care if it's Shell. I don't care whatever. Because the thing is just gas. But the thing is, what if there's a determinant, some kind of that supply that makes a difference? What if it's, instead of just a burger, it's an Angus beef burger? Do you even know what Angus beef is? But you know you're going to pay more for it because it sounds fancy, right? It's a higher quality beef. So if that can differentiate, so if they have a higher quality input, they're going to dictate more. I mean, think about it. How many of you have Intel inside on your computer? Because, hey, Intel chips, they mean something. Bob's computer chip? Bob's don't have much power. But we know that, hey, if it's got Intel inside, I want that. Think about the fact, it's organic, right? I want to pay for that. That supply is going to have a little more power because people are selecting our final product based on the inputs that are in there. So that can give them some power. Another thing you might look at is supplier concentration. How many suppliers are there? If there's a ton of suppliers, I'm not really too worried. Because wait, you want to charge me a higher price? Guess what? I can go to him and he'll charge me less. So that can influence it. But then sometimes it can be too concentrated. Because you think, well, there's only really two airplane companies, Boeing and Airbus, so shouldn't they have the power? Well, no, because then it's just so much competition between the two that actually those suppliers don't have any power over the buyers because they're fighting so much among themselves. Kind of an interesting kind of thing. Other thing you might look at is cost relative to total purchase. That goes back to that Intel chip. I mean, what drives the price of your laptop? It's the chip inside. It's not the screen. It's not the motherboard. I mean, you've heard of Intel chips, right? You've heard of that, but who makes motherboards? Who makes screens? I mean, what breaks on your phone? The screen. What breaks on your laptop? The screen, the motherboard. Because if we're going to pay $400 for this Intel chip, and I'm going to sell that computer for $600, I got to cut costs somewhere. So I'm going to buy a cheaper motherboard or a cheaper screen kind of thing like that, and that's going to affect it. Okay? So we have those things. Other things we're going to talk about. Last one down there, threat of forward integration. How likely is it that your supplier is going to become your competitor? Now, if I'm worried that my supplier can come down and become my competitor, I'm going to make sure whatever they want, they're going to be happy because I don't want another competitor. Because sometimes you create your own worst enemy. Nintendo created Sony PlayStation. As I remember the story, I could be off, I'm sure some people will check me on here, but I do believe Nintendo was having Sony develop an optical drive for them for their next kind of console, and then last minute they said, you know what, we're not going to do optical drives this time, we're going to stay with cartridges for Nintendo 64, so thank you, sorry, our bad. The thing is, Sony's like, we did all this research to help supply them. What if we got into the gaming industry and they came out with a PlayStation, which almost wiped Nintendo out? I mean, it wiped out Sega. So sometimes you're worried, like, hey, is that supplier going to take me over? Okay, so we look at that. Now, next thing we look at is threat of substitutes. And this one will really depend on what you really term your industry, because it's really important when you think about these industries, what these key success factors or 5 forces analysis, what is the industry? Because if I'm a university, is it university is my industry? Is it public university? Because that's very different than private. Is it business school? Is it marketing major versus something else? I mean, this is really going to be important what that industry is. And so we're looking at substitute products, we're going to think is, what are the kind of substitutes that are out there? So if I'm thinking that, look, I'm a burger joint, well, my substitutes are people eating at home, people getting pizza, people going to eat, fried chicken someplace, whatever. It's just not burgers. So it depends. If you do fast food, that's a different industry. So we kind of look at what are the different kinds of substitutes that are out there. Then we really look at is how likely is it that they are going to switch? For example, I drive to work. Now, the substitute is I can ride my bike. I can walk. Yeah, I live like 5 miles away. Okay, I'll die. It's like -10 outside. Or I can take the bus. Those are my substitute products. How likely are those things to happen? Well, the thing is, I look at the bus substitute for me, MTD. Remember, one of the best small-town bus systems out there. The closest stop is like a mile from my house. So for me to walk a mile is about the same time for me to drive here. So I'm not going to substitute, because then I walk a mile, and then I have to take 3 buses to get here. It takes me an hour to get here versus 10 minutes. No thanks. And so we look at those, saying, you know what, are we really worried about that substitute? Yes or no? Sometimes we are. Like, how does, Taco Bell, how do we keep people from leaving us and going to the burger joints? Hey, let's have breakfast food. We give them another reason not to go to the burger joints. We look at those. Okay. Next up, we look at bargaining powers of our buyers. Do we bow to our customers, whatever you want, or we tell them, look, there's other fish in the sea? And so we look at these things. One thing is realize the bigger your customer is, the more power they have. Look, if they're buying 90% of your stuff, you're going to do what they want, because you can't lose that. That's why you want to diversify your portfolio of customers, so you're not just relying on one customer, right? But if you have a customer that buys a lot, like a Walmart buys most of your stuff, they will dictate the price to you. You'll be like, whatever you want, because I don't want to lose that customer. Other thing you might look at is buyer concentration versus firm concentration. Again, this goes into to the airline industry. Because you know what? There's only really 2 players that actually make planes, really. But the thing is, there's not a lot of airplane company or airlines. So there's so few of that look, they're both really concentrated. So, man, we're going to do whatever we want, because they know that they can just hop over our one competitor that's out there. So we have to give our best deal. We'll do something special for them. And so we'll start looking at things. Maybe you look at maybe decision-making incentives. Like, I always fly with Delta. Why? Well, I've got like 300,000 miles with them. I get free upgrades because I fly so much with them. So if I look at a flight, I'm like, look, I can fly American, but man, for like $50 more, I'd go on Delta and I get like upgraded and I get like, nicer. Like, I'm incentivized to do that. So once I'm incentivized to fly with Delta all the time, I've given all my power to Delta. Because I want to get that benefit. Well, now there's no buyer power, because I'm not going to switch over. Like, why would I do that? So you have to think about these things. That's why you see so many loyalty programs. They're trying to lock people in. So, like, why would I go someplace else? If I get one more chai tea latte, I get a free one next time. Why would I go to Espresso instead of Barnes & Noble? Okay, so we look at these. What else do I want to talk about? Someone design a little bit. If we look at brand identity, that's kind of like how I identify with Delta. I identify with Culver's. When I identify with them, I'm giving them the power. Because, I mean, think about it. If you saw me at a Culver's, would you be surprised? No, I talk about it all the freaking time. If you saw me on a Delta flight, you wouldn't be surprised. I talk about it all the time. But if you saw me at like Wendy's, you're like, Mark, what's up with that? I like Wendy's. That Baconator is nice. Their fries aren't, but the Baconator is. You're like, wait, that doesn't make sense. Like, most of the time you will be doing these things, so you think about that. Also, remember how we talked about the supplier forward integrated? We also worry about our customer backward integrated. If I'm selling oil to mobile gas stations, my word, they're going to come back and all of a sudden become refiners. These things we've got to worry about. And so that will influence the bargaining power of the buyer. The next up we have intensity of rivalry. How much do we fight with our competition? And the thing is, one of the big things we look at is industry growth. Luigi, my friend, could you come up here, please? On stage. My lovely assistant Luigi's here to help me out with this. I want to talk about growth. Because think about it. When you have plenty of room to grow, you're happy, you don't really fight too much, right? How many of you had brothers or sisters you had to live with, like you had to share a room with? Okay, so you're no longer living with them, you're here, right?
Yeah, I'm here.
So you like them much better now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're not there. And so we look at the growth, he's got plenty of space between us. Are you comfortable?
Yeah.
Okay. How about now?
Less.
How about now?
No.
How about now?
Okay. No.
How do you feel? No, you want to push me back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what we're looking at. You're looking at, look, there's less and less room to get away. I want to push back. I'm going to fight back. So the less room to grow, the more you're going to fight back, the more intense the rivalries.
Thank you.
I appreciate it, buddy. Want to say hi to anybody? How your friends there sleeping?
Hey, everybody.
There you go. All right. Yeah, but that's one of the big things. If we don't have room to grow, if we have room to grow, we're all buddies, like here in class. But when we don't have room to grow, we're fighting over every inch. I know my brother and I, we shared a room for one day. And we beat the living crap out of each other. My parents were like, no, you're sleeping because we had like a rented house, and we had to stay for like 8 months. And they're like, look, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you've got the bed. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, you have the couch. That's just the way it is. Because there's not enough room. And so we see that. So that's going to increase the amount of rivalry. Other things you might look at, sometimes if we know that people are going to identify with that brand, when we talked about that before, if we know we have to get people to identify with us, we're going to have a lot more rivalry. I have to get them to be a Coke person. Why is it you think we have all these Coke vending machines around here? Or you have, the Chicago Tribune has their newspapers in Biff. They're like, look, I want to get these students to identify that, look, Coke is my drink, Coke is my drink. Because for 4 years, all the vending machines you see are Coke. Hey, I can influence you that way. I can get you to identify as Coke. And so we do these things. So we know if people have to identify with the property, there'll be more rivalry, like more fighting. Okay? Other thing you might look at is informational complexity. I mean, think about it. If it's a simple product, we're going to be fighting more because it's hard to differentiate ourselves. It's sugar. We're fighting over price. We're fighting over everything to get the last little bit. But the thing is, if it's a more complex product, explaining a Tesla versus explaining a Jeep, we're not really having any rivalry. There's no rivalry there. Ford and Ferrari, they both start with F, they both are cars, but they're not really fighting over each other because there's also two different aspects, two different parts of the market. So we might look at that. Product differences can be a big deal. Okay? And so we look at these forces that are out there and how they influence our business, how they influence us, and what do we need to do to adjust to them. And it really helps us to better understand our industry so we can look and say, hey, if they're in that macro sense, is there a new law that's coming that's going to make it easier for people to come into our market? Or is there something that's going to make it harder for us to compete? Or think about it, what is the ramification of having to show all the calories that are on our food? Or what did they say? The calories and then all the non-food items like the preservatives and stuff that goes into the food. All of a sudden, man, is that going to hurt my business? Man, that means our competition, we're going to be fighting even more against the health food stores, restaurants, than the traditional restaurants, because now people are going to be more aware of those issues. Okay? And so what you'd use this for is you basically give yourself a background of companies. So if we look at why we use these, basically use this 5 forces method to get a better in-depth knowledge of the industry, so you're more of a kind of expert on it. You're also trying to find potential trends. You're trying to track the history of what's going on, see potential where things have changed. Like, oh, there's something different. There's a new opening. All of a sudden, once we saw that one online master's program was starting to do pretty well, hey, it used to be kind of a tough thing to crack. Now that we figured out technology is there, that we can film stuff. I mean, I can have a class right here online. Hey, everybody, I hope you enjoyed the class today. All of a sudden, things change, right? And so that threat now changes. Now we have new competition, so universities are competing against online schools. I mean, how many of you have learned something just watching a YouTube video? I mean, right there. I mean, hey, my toilet's clogged. Do I call the plumber, or do I do the YouTube video and watch and see if that works and save myself $333? I mean, these are things we have to look at that are out there. So we want to kind of track all those things to see what's happening in our environment. All right? So, that's all I have for class today. Those of you that are here in class, I want to talk to you for a sec. I got to sign out here. All of you that watch at home, I do appreciate you watching. I'm sorry the lighting wasn't so good, but I hope this helped. I hope everyone stayed warm at home, and you guys, I hope you stay safe. So I'll say bye. Thank you, everybody, and we'll end the class now.